Okay, friends, it is 11 o'clock, and we're glad to be here for NANOE's Governor's Orientation. Let's see, I think everything should be all lined up. You are joining us for NANOE Governor's live Facebook Live Orientation. Today's October 9th, and don't forget that today's broadcast is going to be uploaded to NANOE's website. NANOE News, you'll find that on one of the pages. You just click on NANOE News, and this entire video will be placed probably there within 2 or 3 hours. So, here is the existential question: why NANOE? And we are privileged to have with us today NANOE's president, Louis Fawcett. Louis has a storied career in nonprofit management and ministry management. He's a super fundraiser. He's a capacity builder, and it's been quite a journey. It's been about 2 years since we began to explore our different relationships within NANOE, and I think Louis is really going to do a great job of explaining more from a third-party perspective in a sense, right? You all know Dr. Robinson and I and Redfern and Hani and Scott and Jackson. We have been working on NANOE for years and years, and then came along this practitioner, this brilliant practitioner, and began looking and kicking the tires, looking under the hood, and discovering what he felt like were some shared values. And as a result of that, on a 2-year journey, this last January, the board of directors installed Louis as our president. So this is the first time you're getting to meet him. I'm so excited about it. Can't wait for you to meet President Louis Fawcett. Louis?
Thanks, Jimmy. It's so good to be with you today, and I want to thank you for taking time out of your day. I know there are 1,000 other things you could be doing. And I also want to thank you for your work on the front lines every day to change and save lives. I have been in the nonprofit sector for 20 years. I'm with you now on the front lines. I know that there are days when you wonder if anyone is listening. Is anyone going to take your call? Is anyone going to open your email? And you work and you work and you work, and people just ought to understand the great work that you're doing, and sometimes it seems like they're not listening or they don't care. And so I just want to encourage you, and I just want you to know that that next win, that next victory, that next big gift to your organization is right around the corner. So hang in there. I also want to tell you about my journey to NANOE. I started out in church work. I was a pastor in North Carolina and Florida and South Carolina. And then I switched over to the nonprofit sector. I helped kids in China, Russia, and Ethiopia. Then after the earthquake in Haiti, I went to work there, helping orphans and school children in that amazing nation. And then I spent 4 years at Adventure in South Carolina, helping to raise money for after-school programs and professional development for teachers and literacy initiatives. So all of this wonderful time in churches and nonprofits, I met the best people in the world. People who had hearts of gold, who were salt of the earth, who just wanted to change and save lives every day. But at the same time, what I was being told about the nonprofit industry and the way we ought to do things, it just didn't add up. You know, I heard about board development and board training and asking your board to do fundraising and all the meetings and the reports and the things that we were told we had to do, and the conferences and the grant writing applications and the grant writing workshops. And I just didn't see that it translated to success and prosperity for the nonprofits in which I work. I found that developing relationships, that sowing energy and time into donors and meeting their needs, that's what helped our nonprofits succeed. Not all of these other things I was being told by the industry authorities. And then I was privileged to serve on the board of my local Association of Fundraising Professionals chapter for 8 years. I served as president of AFP and even won the Fundraising Professional of the Year award. But through all of that, things just didn't add up. And then one day I heard about NANOE. And I knew some of the founders of NANOE. I knew Jimmy LaRose, and I wondered, why do we need another organization with all that we have out there, with all the resources at our fingertips? Why do we need an organization like the National Association of Nonprofit Organizations and Executives? And so I called Jimmy. And I have to admit that I was skeptical. I wasn't very happy with Jimmy. I said, Jimmy, what are you doing? You can't do this. You can't just go out and start yet another organization. And that first conversation was a tense conversation. We were on the phone for about 25 minutes. I would not categorize it as a pleasant conversation. But here's what happened. Most people, if they had had that conversation with me, would have never called me again. Maybe they would have sent me a mean email, but they certainly wouldn't have wanted to talk to me again. And instead, Jimmy LaRose said, why don't you come to my home? Let's have dinner together. Let's share a meal. Let's talk more about these grand ideas that we have for the nonprofit sector. And so I came to Jimmy's home. We sat right here in this room. We fellowshipped, we talked, and over and over and over again, everything he said about his 30 years in the nonprofit sector, it all made sense to me. It all resonated with me. And that's when I decided to join this movement to change the sector. At the end of the day, it's all about math. It's all about having more money coming in than is going out. You know, we do this in our personal lives. We understand that we need to have a savings account and a retirement account, that we need to have our benefits covered, and that every month we need to have more money coming in than is going out. And we do this in our business lives. I mean, you and I intersect with business leaders every day, and they understand that they need to grow their revenue, that they need to cut costs, that they need to grow their business and have multiple locations and continue to grow. That's what it's all about in the for-profit sector. But somehow in the nonprofit sector, we forget that, and we think that a different set of rules apply to the nonprofit sector than the for-profit sector or to our business life or personal lives. And friends, it doesn't make any sense. I've even heard board members say, well, you know, we really shouldn't raise any more money until we spend what we have. But we would never say that in our personal lives. We would never say it in our business lives. So why do we say it in the nonprofit sector? We need to transform the way we think about doing business. We need to change the way we practice in the nonprofit sector. For me, it's about free market principles. It's about taking what we know works in the business sector and applying it to the nonprofit sector. Principles like competition. Do we really need 1.5 million nonprofits repeating the same programs and services? Maybe we need fewer nonprofits who are making a greater significant impact on their communities. We need more innovation, new ideas to bring to the sector. We don't need to think inside the box or outside the box. We need to throw away the box and come at things from a completely new perspective. We need more differentiated relationships where we are truly networked with each other and with business and community leaders to change and save more lives. We need more reciprocity. We don't need to be going out asking for everything from businesses for free. In fact, we need to find ways that the nonprofit sector can benefit the for-profit sector. And at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is growth. Growing our impact and growing our revenues. Those are the two standards for evaluation for every nonprofit. I want to invite you to think differently about your day-to-day routines in your nonprofit. Spend less time in these internal meetings. Just don't fill out all those reports that you think you have to do. All these things that have been laid on you by other people saying, well, you need to do this and you need to do that. All these things that keep you in the office and that keep you from raising money to change and save more lives in your community. Throw away the things that are unnecessary and focus on what is necessary, and that is spending more time with the people who support your mission. When you spend more time with donors, you're going to find that you're going to be happier. You're going to be less frustrated. You're going to be invigorated, because as you spend time with donors, as you hear about their goals for their communities and how you can help them achieve their philanthropic goals, they're going to start to make the case for your organization for you. You're going to begin to hear your mission come out of their mouths. You're going to be inspired. You're going to be happier. You're going to be less frustrated. You know, what if instead of spending 90% of our time on program service delivery, what if we spent 90% of our time with donors? What if we were able to hire the right program staff so that we didn't have to worry about the day-to-day operations, so that we knew that the best and brightest people had that covered, and we were freed up as nonprofit leaders to spend more time in the community, less time in the office. You know, donors don't like being treated like ATM machines. You can't just run by every time you need money. You actually have to sow into those relationships. Donors will enjoy spending time with you, and you'll enjoy spending time with donors. This is also about you getting paid. The days of you not getting a pay raise, of you accepting a salary that barely supports your family, those days need to be over. Just because you serve the poor and impoverished doesn't mean that you need to be poor and impoverished too. There is nothing wrong with paying the best and the brightest and rewarding them for their work. And instead, what we end up doing in the nonprofit sector is we bottom feed on talent. You know, we get young and bright people out of college who are idealistic and they want to change the world, but then we pay them peanuts and we work them 50, 60 hours a week, and we wonder why they leave after 18 months. You know, what's the first thing you hear in every nonprofit interview? Well, I'm sorry, we can't pay you very much because we're a nonprofit. And, well, we don't know if you'll have benefits or retirement, but it's okay, you're helping people, your heart's in the right place. Well, that's great, and it might be true that our heart's in the right place, but at the end of the day, we have to provide for our families. So we need to look for ways and boldly say that nonprofit executives should be well paid for changing and saving lives. The other day, someone said to me, well, Lewis, what's your agenda? And I said, well, as a person of faith, I believe God calls me every day to change and save more lives. That's what I wake up every day thinking about. And the way that that happens is in this world is through money. Money opens doors. Money allows us to hire the best and the brightest. Money allows us to achieve significant impact in our communities. That's what NANOE is all about. I believe that my journey to this point has prepared me to be a part of NANOE. And I'm wondering, as you listen today, if your journey has been preparing you as well. And now with that, I'd like to turn it over to one of our founders, Jimmy LaRose, who will provide some more information.
You should know that the comments and the likes and the hearts and the loves are popping all up this NANOE video Facebook Live Governor's Orientation. Friends, if you haven't already accepted your nomination or made your nomination, by the way, and you can nominate yourself. You can go to nanogovernors.org, nanogovernors.org, and you're able to, right there, accept or make your nomination to be on NANOE's Board of Governors. That's task number one. Well, that's the big opener. Let's make sure that you get nominated. Second, here we go. Not second, five. 5 easy, important tasks. And here's task number one. Task number one is save the date. we're hosting our Board of Governors Convention and Expo, March 26 and 27 in Charleston, South Carolina. That's March 26 and 27, 2019. You won't want to forget that Dr. Robinson, Jimmy LaRose, Louis Fawcett, Kathy Parker, and of course, Gail Giarratano are going to be our special speakers. You don't want to miss this event. We'll be collaborating, and not only will we be doing 5 big keynotes, but here we are. We will also be going over new guidelines for nonprofits. Remember, this is our declaration, isn't it? It's our Constitution. 800 pages of new guidelines. So day 1 will be transformation. Day 2 will be work. So task number 2 is just that. I need you to go to NANOE Central, nano.org, go to NANOE Central, and make sure you review our value statement. It should be easily found, NANOE's value statement. It is no small thing. Do we have shared values? And our members are our mission. It's quite extensive. It's only 2 or 3 pages, but there's about 50 big ideas that relate to you, that relate to the nonprofit sector, that relate to significant impact. And let's make sure that we do share these values. So task number 2 is to review NANOE's value statement. Task number 1, save the day for Charleston. Task number 2, review NANOE's value statement. Okay, task number 3. Now you've joined the Board of Governors, but in order to go through this process, you also need to join NANOE. NANOE Central is where you'll find the NANOE's Governor's Toolkit. You'll find the forum where you're able to review and contribute empirically to the new guidelines. But in addition to joining NANOE, just so that you can pursue your governor's function, I really think that you need to take a look, take a peek. First of all, we are the fastest growing membership network in the United States. 1,100 members in our first 18 months. We host regional trainings across the US. We have the biennial national conference. Inside NANOE Central is a cloud-based training platform. It helps you incept, and it helps these new guidelines go deep in you. Of course, we provide mentoring and coaching and consulting to NANOE members. Don't forget that we have an industry news outlet called Inside Charity. We also have a member feature SEO, search engine optimization platform called 501c3.buzz. I'll get to that in a minute. Do you know that as a member of NANOE, you have access to the names and addresses of every single millionaire in the United States? If you're going to build capacity, you have to know where the wealth set begins and ends. Donor Scope resides at NANOE. Of course, we have a certified vendor program, some of the most amazing, efficient, inexpensive products that are out there on the market that help you build capacity. Furthermore, there's CNE, Certified Nonprofit Executive, CDE, Certified Development Executive, and CNC, Certified Nonprofit Consultant. These are our 3 credentialing programs. So not only do you get to function as a governor, not only do you have access to all of this research, friends, it took 5 years. It took 5 years for Dr. Robinson to write these 800 pages, to discover and find out what wasn't going to work, what isn't working, what stopped working. You go to your AFP conferences, you go to your state association conferences, and you're seeing the same webinars and PowerPoint presentations from 1995. Friends, you don't need a golf event. You don't need a gala. We need to teach you how the river of philanthropy is deep and it is wide, and there is more money out there than you could possibly spend, but you're not being taught the ways to access it. So, as you continue, remember, this is our cornerstone. This is our Constitution, if you will. It's our Declaration of Independence. So, task number 3 is join NANOE, and the benefits are endless. Okay, I just reviewed the credentialing program. Here we have Donna Guzzo. Donna's down in St. Augustine, Florida, and she chose to go through all 3 credentials. By the way, the exams are online. They're multiple choice. CNE is 250 questions. That's Certified Nonprofit Executive. CDE, Certified Development Executive. That's for the fundraisers. That's 150 questions, multiple choice. and CNC, Certified Nonprofit Consultant, that's 100 questions. And what's great, in Nano Central is the Capacity Builder's Library. And as you take the exam, you are pointed to the material in Nano Central whereby which you're able to discover the correct answers. Friends, this is about using this exam. Listen, at our age, I'm not interested in whether or not you can pass an exam. What I am interested in doing is using all of this material and using the exam process to transfer the information to you. So don't forget about nano credentialing. Remember I talked about that SEO platform? Take a look at 501c3.buzz. This is where we celebrate, we be happy, we be graceful, we be charitable. This is where we celebrate each of our members. If you're concerned about raising your profile in Google, you know that you have to have blog posts out there. You know, not just on your website, but other websites. 501c3.buzz is for nano members only, and you get highlighted, and we get to raise the level of visibility of your personal brand or the nonprofit that you're serving, whatever you decide. I talked to you about our exclusive media outlet, Inside Charity. This is where you're going to find, well, I'll just put it this way. We couldn't get the other media industry outlets to actually print the truth of what's going on in the nonprofit sector. They are not interested, the industry media outlets, in new guidelines for nonprofits. You want to know why? Because it comes against all the products that are being advertised in their industry rags. So we had to create Inside Charity, America's trusted nonprofit news source, so you could actually get information that's accurate. Take a look at insidecharity.org. Okay? Which way am I going here? Okay, don't forget, there are 3 different types of membership. $100 if you're a practitioner. If you're just a single individual right now and you're not with an organization but you're a practitioner, that's $100. $200 is unlimited memberships for your entire organization. That's the organizational membership. And if you're a for-profit company, which comes with all sorts of highlights and raises the level of visibility of your important offering to the nonprofit sector, that's $300. So for an individual, it's $100. For an organization, a nonprofit, unlimited memberships for $200. And if you're an enterprise, it's unlimited memberships for everybody on your team. Let's introduce the good, important products that you've developed and make sure that we introduce them to our nano members so that you are able to help us build the capacity the way we need to. Okay. Task number 1, save the date for Charleston, March 26 and 27. Task number 2, read Nano's value statement. Task number 3 was, what was task number 3? Task number 3 was to join Nano. Task number 4 is to review the guidelines, okay? I've been picking up that book. There are 6 guidelines. Let me just put it this way. When we first introduced the first edition of the new guidelines, there was 12 of them. Do you remember? There was 12, and it was about 120 pages long. After 2 years of working with you, our nano members and our nano governors, we have reduced the 12 guidelines to 6, but expanded it from 120 pages to 800. So, yet again, new guidelines for tomorrow's nonprofit. New guidelines for tomorrow's nonprofit. Previously was 12 guidelines and 120 pages. Now it's 6 guidelines, but it's 800 pages because of your contribution. Now, as you review the new guidelines for tomorrow's nonprofit, you'll find them in your governor's toolkit in Nano Central after you purchase your membership. And then you'll be able to go into the governor's forum. And maybe you'll pick one guideline. Maybe you'll pick all 6 guidelines. Maybe you'll pick 3 pages only out of one guideline. And you'll make your comments and you'll begin to further help us process exactly what's going on in the field. Remember, that is in your governor's toolkit, okay? Which is in Nano Central. Task number 5, collaborate and contribute. I referenced that just a second ago when I talked about after you go into your governor's toolkit and you download all 800 pages of these guidelines, you'll then get to answer in the governor's forum. You'll collaborate and you'll contribute to the new guidelines. You'll answer these 6 questions. What do you think is the most important idea presented in this particular guideline? What idea in this guideline do you have concerns about, and why do you? What idea is not clear or do you think needs amplification? What do you think needs to be added to this new guideline to make it helpful? Do you think any additional practices needed to be added? If so, what are they? And question number 6, in what ways do you think this guideline helps promotes nonprofit growth? So, I'll see if I can remember the 5 tasks. Task number 1, save the date, March 26 and 27 for Charleston. Task number 2, read NANO's value statement. Make sure we have shared values. Task number 3, join NANO and benefit from the myriad of capacity building resources that are there for you. Task number 4, review the new guidelines. Task number 5, collaborate and contribute to each of the guidelines in the Governor's Forum. Okay. Oh, matter of fact, I have right here, give and take, harnessing the power of differentiated relationships. That's actually been renamed. It's called Network and Engage. Network and Engage, harnessing the power of differentiated relationships. And you'll notice here that Adele McKinney, she made her comment. This is what it will look like as you go into the Governor's Forum and you make your contribution after you reviewed the guidelines. We can't say enough about Dr. Kathleen Robinson, who dedicated her entire career. Several different universities that she served, University of South Carolina, eventually retired at Clemson. But it was important for her, matter of fact, her work was about grassroots nonprofits, small to medium-sized nonprofits, and going out of her way to grow them, not just to serve problems, but to actually solve them completely. Significant impact is the watchword for Dr. Robinson. Louis, I'm about to close up here. You may want to have a closing comment to our group as you've been thinking and you've been contemplating. So don't forget, nano.org, online. Matter of fact, you can start asking questions right now. I'm going to get our member relations director, Lisa Van Zyl, on the line, and she's going to start entertaining your questions. You can begin to type them into the feed, and we'll make sure that we answer your questions right now before this Facebook Live orientation is over. Don't forget to go to nano.org. Don't forget to look at membership, our events, and credentialing. And don't forget that you can always reach us in 9 to 5 Eastern. We have technical support. Lisa Van Zyl, our member relations director, is always on standby and is always there to help you through this process. That number is 800-257-6670. 800-257-6670. So I'm going to give Lisa a call, and I'm just wondering, Louis, casually, if anything else has come to you as I get Lisa on the line.
Well, thanks, Jimmy. I was just thinking as Jimmy was talking about the spirit of Nano and how it's one of joy and friendship and gratitude that I found among all the members, among the board and the leadership, how we approach leading nonprofits as a privilege, as an honor, and as something, frankly, that's fun. I think it's fair to say that while we don't list fun as one of our values, it certainly undergirds everything that we do. We want to wake up every day excited about the work that we're doing and go to sleep every day with gratitude for what we've been able to accomplish. And I want you to know, as you consider Nano, as you become more involved, that we walk with you in having this fun and this joy.
That's great. Hey friends, you've been asking questions online. I have got Lisa Van Zyl here in my ear. Lisa, what's question number 1? If we are a governor from last year, do we need to be nominated again? No. Once you become a Nano governor, unless you decline it in the future, you're a governor for life. What's the next question? Will we post a link to the meeting in March? If you go to nano.org right now, matter of fact, Lisa, I'm sure you could do that online. If you simply went to nano.org and then you clicked on events, you could post that link right there in the feed. Okay, there's a third question. What's the difference in memberships? Remember, as a practitioner, it's one individual, that's $100 a year. As a nonprofit organization, an organizational membership, that's $200 a year, but that allows unlimited numbers of individuals to join Nano from your nonprofit. And if you're a for-profit enterprise, and you want to raise the level of visibility of your offering to the nonprofit sector, that's $300 a year. Okay, go ahead. Here's the question. Number one, does Nano help me grow my nonprofit? I'm going to bring Lewis in on this because that is the only question that matters. That is the only question that matters. Friends, the nonprofit sector has stagnated for 50 years. We have the data, and we have not wrestled any additional market share away from the for-profit sector. We're right at 2% and have been around since 1970. We pat ourselves on the back a lot. Independent sector and Giving USA will come out with, this has been the best year ever for philanthropic dollars raised. Last year in 2017, it was $475 billion. And you know what I say to that? I say you don't get any points for raising $475 billion when you need $1.5 trillion to get the job done. And what's even worse, the $1 trillion is there for us. It's just that we are not teaching ourselves the correct ways to access and applying the same free market principles that we know work in the business world. So yes, the answer to your question, does Nano help me build capacity? Does Nano help me build my organization financially? That's all that Nano's about. Lewis?
Yeah, Jimmy's right. I mean, this is not an academic exercise. And when we talk about 800 pages of PhD-backed research, that's there for you, but we don't expect you to run out and read all of that at one time. But I would encourage you to take a few pages or a chapter, and I guarantee you reading some of the material is going to spark new ideas for your nonprofit. But the other resources that are available at Nano are nuts and bolts. I mean, this is blocking and tackling basic fundamentals of what it takes to grow your enterprise. Remember, growing your revenue and growing your impact, those are the two things that matter, and that's what we're all about.
To the individual who said, does Nano help me build my organization financially? Well, I'll tell you what, as a member of Nano, you have access to DonorScope. Working with Experian, we have provided and put together the database of millionaires. And it would surprise you. It would surprise you. We were in, last week, we were in Charleston, South Carolina, and we did a 30-mile radius search of millionaires with net worth of $1 million or more. And 28,000 individuals emerged. Now, I know you may be in Jasper, Alabama, that has a town of 600 people, but I promise you, within 15 miles of Jasper, Alabama, there's 2,000 net worth millionaires. So how are you going to raise money if you don't know where the wealth set begins and ends? As a member of Nano, we provide you that information. So yes, you're going to build your organization financially as a result of your membership at Nano. Lisa, what's the next question? Currently, well, the question is, how many governors do we currently have? Right now, there are 3,600 Nano governors contributing to Nano guidelines, and our goal is to have 7,500 by the end of the year. So we have 3,600 governors right now currently serving. Go ahead, Lisa. Yes, ready for the next question. Okay, first of all, when you attend Board of Governors Convention and Expo, do you know that that also includes the price of your credentials? So it's $298 to attend Board of Governors Convention and Expo. And by the way, you can attend in Charleston or you can live stream it. But as a gift to all of our Nano members who come to or stream Board of Governors Convention and Expo, for $298, all of your credentialing fees are paid as well. Now, the question from the particular viewer was, if you already have your credentials, does it cost less to come to Convention and Expo? And I apologize, it does not. It's $298 for those 2 days. You can live stream it for your organization, or you can come and join us and attend live in person in Charleston. Remember, it does include all your credentialing fees, but if you already have your credentials, the price still remains $298. Lisa, any more questions? Does Nano work with or support Network for Good? Right now, we are not in a formal partnership with Network for Good. So the answer to that question is no, we do not. On the other hand, we're growing, Network for Good is growing, Charity Watch is growing, Charity Defense Council is growing, all of the different associations are transforming and changing. So as we build genuine new friendships, harnessing the power of differentiated relationships, we do intend to work with all of these different associations and organizations. What's next, Lisa? How will we know? Oh, when you make your membership? When you pay? Okay, so here's what the question was. How will we know when our year is up? Will we receive an invoice? Yes, and by the way, your year starts today. If you chose to join Nano this afternoon or this morning, you will receive a reminder and an invoice 1 year from now to renew. I think that's it, Lisa. Is that right? Okay, friends. No small thing. Nano is the only nationwide network of individuals who are defying convention, who understand that truth never fears a challenge. And what the nonprofit sector so desperately needs is individuals who are committed to separate and critical thought so that we can open these doors so that you can have it. Friends, as I said earlier, that river of philanthropy is deep and wide. The number of resources that you are not being told that are available to you. Venture banks, aggregate banks, venture philanthropists. Friends, the day of the golf outing's over. And as you join Nano, you are going to learn how to actually build the capacity that you need to create a heroic mission of scale. You know, if you want to run a food bank out of the back of your minivan, God bless you. And there's a place for you here at Nano, and we appreciate your work. But if you want to achieve significant impact, if you want to introduce heroic mission of scale that's so compelling, money chases after you, that's what you learn to do by joining Nano. I'm Jimmy LaRose. We're so glad that Louis Fawcett was with us today, our new president. What a wonderful leader. A third party who observed from the outside and said, you want to know what? The things that I'm learning here at Nano, this is what I already believed. We hope that